So with this whole neck and shoulder series, so we've got a mix of people that are going to be joining in. So there are a lot of people that are instructors. There are a few people that are coming from the client side. So I want to be able to make this accessible to everyone. It doesn't need to be intimidating levels of information. But obviously, if you guys have specific questions, and for the instructors that are here, if you've got clients that you're working with that a question comes up, please feel free to put it out to the group, because then we can actually just make sure that we address it and we brainstorm, and I can hopefully give you some ideas for repertoire and releases and that sort of thing. So with the neck and the shoulders, so the whole shoulder girdle, which is sometimes, by the way, called the pectoral girdle, is actually quite complex. You know, if you talk to somebody about their shoulders, they think this, the shoulder joint, which is the ball and socket joint. It is so much more complicated than that, because don't forget that part of the shoulder itself is made up of the scapula. So now every time you move your arm, you've got to think, well, what's happening with the scapula? And the thing is, the scapula is out of sight, which means oftentimes it's out of mind. We don't even like really think about it much, right? And then you've got this whole complex relating to what's happened to the rib cage. So every time you change the shape or you move your rib cage, there's a ripple effect to the shoulders and the scapula. And don't forget that the rib cage is attached to the thoracic spine. So every time there's something going on with the thoracic spine, there's a ripple effect of what's happening with the shoulder complex as well. And then you get a little bit of stiffness around the thoracic spine, and all of a sudden there's some kind of compensation that's going to happen either below it, which is the lumbar spine, or above it, which is the cervical spine. So oftentimes, if you get any kind of stiffness or immobility around the shoulder joints or around the thoracic spine, all of a sudden we start to compensate with our neck. And then obviously people start to take strain around all of these neck muscles. So we've got these big ropey neck muscles at the front, which are called the sternocleidomastoid. And if you go to any kind of sadistic physio, then they start to release that sternocleidomastoid, and it's actually very, very painful, right? And they get in there and they do a little bit of a release. There's also the deep muscles called the longus coli, which a lot of people don't even know exist. And we're going to see if we can start to activate them today, because those support the cervical spine. And it's really important that we know how to connect into them. And then, of course, we've got these neck muscles at the back here, which get really shortened on people, because we get this, and then we get this. Now, people are on their laptops, they're on their cell phones, they're driving, they're watching TV, and it's one of these things where the head gets pushed forward, and normally the head weighs around 7 kgs if it's balanced properly on top of the spine. All of a sudden you push your head forward and it weighs double and triple. Okay, so the weight load of your head coming forward puts a massive amount of strain onto the neck as well. So all of this is related to posture. So as we go through the next 4 classes, I'm starting super, super simple and gentle today for people that have neck injuries. And then we're going to build up and build up and build up. And we're going to take a look at how we can start to work the entire thoracic spine and the ripple effect that it has on the neck as well. So does that sound okay for everyone?
Perfect.
All good. Cool. Any questions before we start?
Will we need any equipment right
Good
now?
question. So all you're going to need today is your mat, and then you may very well need either a soft pillow, or if you have one of those inflatable balls, and then you can just deflate it a little bit, and we might use that under the head. If you don't have a ball, it's fine. You can actually have just a soft pillow like I've got today. Yeah, that's it, Tom, that's it. That over ball is perfect. And then what you might also need is sort of a harder block. We're going to do a thread the needle stretch, and some people can't get their head to the floor, so you may need a foam block, or you still use that same soft pillow as a little bit of a support for yourself. All right. Okay, guys, so let's get going. Can everybody see the map there?
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
I'm going to be very brave and take off my poofy jacket. And what we're going to do is start off with a roll down. So just give yourself a little bit of space. And if you feel that you need to stand with your back against the wall for a little bit of support, then feel free to stand here. But otherwise, just give yourself a little space. Take your feet slightly wider apart than you normally do, just so that you feel that you've got a really solid base underneath you. Let your knees soften, let your arms relax, and then just take a moment to close your eyes. And just allow yourself to slow down for a moment. And start to become aware of each inhale and each exhale as it moves through your body. And start to bring your awareness to the soles of your feet, allowing yourself to root and ground through your feet. And become aware of the crown of your head floating up towards the clouds above you. Starting to find lightness through your upper body. And take a moment to acknowledge your shoulders, acknowledge your neck, acknowledge your ribs, your lungs, and your heart. And as you stand here and pause for a moment, if you could describe your lungs, your heart, your upper body in one word, what would it be? How do you feel today in your physical body and in your energetic body? And then we're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth and sigh. And then just blinking your eyes open, we're going to lift the shoulders gently and slowly up towards your ears, and you're going to inhale as you do that. And on your exhale, just glide your shoulders down. We're not going to drop them. There's not going to be anything jarring. And then just let yourself settle. Just looking over one shoulder, looking over the other shoulder, and bringing your head back to the center. And let's do that again. Inhale, lifting the shoulders up. Feel how your ribs expand. Exhale, glide the shoulders down. Feel how the ribs soften. And then again, looking over one shoulder and over the other shoulder. Just noticing the range that you have. Bringing your head to the center. Let's do that one last time. We inhale. Feel your scapula gliding up. Exhale. Feel the scapula gliding down. And looking over one shoulder. No forcing. Over the other shoulder. And just bringing your head back to the center. And now we're going to do a little bit of a roll down. So on your next breath, just look towards your feet without jamming your chin to your chest. Just look down. And then just allow your body to fold over. And we're just going to come until our hands are in line with our knees today. Keep the knees a little bit soft. And I just want you to pause, feeling the shape of your spine, feeling the shape of your ribs, feeling the weight of your arms and the weight of your crown. Take a little breath in, and then exhale. Slowly come all the way up. And just allowing your back body to support you and lifting all the way up and tall. And so now we're going to do what's called a Dorner Realignment. So you're going to do this tiny little shaking with your head. No, 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 no. It is tiny. No. Now what you're going to do is take 3 fingers like this. You're going to be putting them at the back of your neck, down at C7, and you're going to be pushing your fingers together lightly and sliding them up towards the back of your neck. So I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm doing. So you're going to take your fingers, placing them down at the base of your neck at C7. Start squeezing together and we go no, 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 no. Sliding the fingers all the way up to the occipital bone and then relax. And we're going to do that again. Fingers to the base of the neck and we go no, no. So you're pushing your fingers towards each other and you might very well find a little section of the cervical spine that almost feels like it's sticking out a bit. Let's do 2 more times. And we go no, 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 no. And I can feel just on my left side there, woo. And we're going to do one last time, squeezing the fingers onto the spine and shaking the head. No, 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 no. And release. Let your arms relax down. We're going to repeat our roll down. When you're ready, just looking towards your feet and just let your spine naturally flex over. So oftentimes as instructors, we talk to people about tuck the chin, chin to chest. Just let people find their own movement there. And we're going to pause, take a breath in. And then exhale, slowly up you come. Feeling the abdominals connect. Rolling all the way up. And just take a moment to pause here. And just notice how your spine feels, how the shoulders feel. So now we're going to be doing a little bit of protraction and retraction of the scapula. If you want to stand with your back against the wall, it gives you a nice tactile cue, but you don't have to. So you can stand either upright in space, or you can have your back against a cupboard or against a wall. And just float your arms out in front of you. And the first thing I want you to do is to close your eyes and feel the points of contact of your body against the wall, if you're against the wall. And just allowing your arms to come into a position, either maybe lower, wider, palms up, where you feel ease across your back. And if you are standing with your back against a wall, you don't have to force your head against the wall. Just find a lengthening of the spine and then notice, is your head connecting to the wall or not? Don't force it back if it doesn't naturally want to be there with the lengthening. And then open your eyes and you're going to start squeezing the scapula towards each other, and that is called retraction of the scapula. And then you're going to let them float back to a nice open position. And this time, start reaching your fingertips forward slightly and feel the widening, the protraction of the scapula. And then let them come back to neutral. And again, you're going to draw the scapula towards each other, retraction, and release. And now you're going to start reaching the fingertips forward. Think about energy through the baby fingers to try and keep it out of the upper trapezius. And come back to neutral. And now, retraction, go half the way. Go half the size. And release. And now protraction, where you let the scapula glide wide. Go half the size. And release. Now keep the movement going and start to make it even smaller. Because what we want to try and do here is refine our movements. And what you guys are going to find with your clients is that they want to make it so big that they do this. They stick their chest out and then they round their upper back because they think it's supposed to be a massive movement. So let's just keep it nice and small and see if we can start to refine the movements. And I'm going to turn around so you can just see from the back as well. Just a gentle retraction. And then a gentle protraction. And just notice on your own body, what feels easier for you? What is your movement that your body naturally slips into? And then I want you to finish your last one and just come back to the center and pause. And now we're going to open and close the arms. So you're going to inhale to open, and I want you to stop as soon as you feel your scapula moving. So maybe you don't go very far, which is fine. And then allowing it to come forward. And again, start to open your arms and feeling the width across your back. And if you are standing with your back against the wall, you get a really nice tactile cue of if the scapula starts to move. And as you do this arms open and close, you are very welcome as you start to bring your arms forward that perhaps you want to bring it together and actually connect the tips of the fingers. And then open the arms wide. And bringing the hands either to shoulder width. And the reason I like to connect the tips of the fingers is that it gets people to slow down a bit and it gets them to be mindful of their movements. Because oftentimes we just want to rush through this. And if you get them to actually connect fingertips to partners, it gets them to slow down just for a moment. And we're going to do just one last one. Bringing the hands all the way to the front, and then just allow your arms to come down. And if you're standing against a wall, you can just step a little bit away. You can let your arms relax or place them onto your pelvis. If you have a piece of chalk on the tip of your nose, we're going to draw an infinity sign, which is a figure of 8 lying on its side, and it's small. So you're going to start to draw that infinity, and it doesn't matter which direction you start off with because we are going to be changing direction. And again, if you're comfortable to close your eyes, then I invite you to do so, just simply because it gets you to feel the movement. Gentle, gentle, sideways figure of 8. And keep going in the same direction that you are. So I'm going to sit nice and close so that you guys can see what I'm doing as well. So it's just a gentle movement like this, and start to make it a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. So with our cervical spine, the neck, we have 7 vertebrae. Starting from the very top is C1. And in fact, C1 is up inside our skull. And it allows our skull to balance on top. And oftentimes we hold a lot of tension just around that atlas axis where the head balances. And this neural glide that we're doing right now is the most amazing release for the neck. And then just pause and come to the center, and you can have eyes closed or open, it's up to you. And now I want you to start going the other direction. So now you're going to draw your figure of 8 the other way. And I know this feels really weird. So naturally we'll start going in the direction that feels easiest for us. And then when you reverse it, it feels a little bit odd. So start slow, Maybe you can explore the movement. Maybe you want to go quite big. And then as you continue the movement, start to make it smaller. And again, if this makes you feel a little bit dizzy or disoriented, then please just open your eyes and just keep a soft gaze with your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes here. Gentle, gentle movements. And it's that little neural glide. So I find as well with people that maybe have neck issues or injuries, this takes the place of any kind of neck stretch that we sometimes do. So this is a lovely alternative for people that maybe have some serious neck issues or injuries or tension. Nice and small, nice and small. And then just allow yourself to come to a standstill. And wherever you are, just keep your eyes closed and just let yourself feel, let yourself acknowledge your neck, your shoulders, pausing just for a moment to be able to feel what is happening there. And then we're going to blink eyes open. And we're going to do rotator cuff without any resistance. So you can stand either away from the wall or back against the wall and bend your elbows just so the palms are facing upwards. And this, by the way, is called supination. So it's like you're holding soup bowls. And I just want you to start by taking your elbows a little bit away from your body and then bringing the elbows in towards your body, and maybe you can even squeeze them in tight. And then I want you to take the elbows away. Feel the space, the width across your back, and then bring the elbows in. And if you've got a very curvy figure, you might feel like things crunch in a little bit here. So feel it. And then one more time, let the elbows float away. And then bring your elbows towards you without crunching. So you keep a little bit of a space between the elbows and the sides of your body. Start to bring the baby fingers towards each other. And then start to pivot and allow the hands to come outwards. You still have that little space. You haven't moved and you haven't squeezed. And again, bringing the elbows towards each other, and then pivoting and bringing the hands open. Now, connect your movement to your breath. However that feels natural for you, I like to exhale right now. And keep this movement going and become aware of what is happening with your scapula on the back of your ribs. So this movement in itself is rotator cuff. It's external, internal rotation. And there actually shouldn't be any movement right now of the scapula on the back of your body. And what lots of people like to do is to bring their thumbs open and then squeeze the scapula to get extra movement. So see if you can resist the temptation of making this movement too big. And we're just going to do 2 more. Keep lengthening through your crown. One more time. And then bring your hands just back to the center and allow your arms to float down. So we're going to be transitioning down onto the floor in a 4-point position. So please come onto your mat. Maybe stand a little bit towards the back of the mat. Pause here for a moment. Inhale and expand. And then on your breath, just allow your body to naturally fold forward, finding the weight of your crown, the weight of your arms, And just let yourself come all the way down to the floor, bend your knees if you need to, and then walk down onto all fours. All right, so you might need to have a block or a cushion on hand. And we're going to start off with just a little bit of weight bearing. Now, people that have serious shoulder issues, and frozen shoulder, by the way, is very common nowadays. This is a really lovely weight bearing exercise. So the first thing I want you to do is get your middle finger pointing forward and then spread the other fingers out equally. Get your knees in a happy place, padding if you need. Lengthen your spine, and I want you to close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to feel, where are you weight bearing on your wrists and hands right now? Because that's going to have a ripple effect up into the neck and shoulders, right? That's all part of your arm line. So we want to have 60 or 70% of our body weight on the thumb and forefinger. So if you're rolling to your baby finger, what do you need to do to get the weight onto the thumb and the index finger? If that means you take your arms wider, do it. If it means you turn your hands in a little bit, do it. Okay? Make the modifications that work for you. And then I want you to blink your eyes open. And we're going to start pushing our hands and our shins into the floor, but we're not going to move anything. Take a breath. On your exhale, start pushing hands and shins into the ground, and we are loading the major joints of the body right here. You're not actually lifting your knees. Some people can't lift their knees right now. This is enough work for them. And then we're going to soften and release. Adjust your position if you need. Take another breath in. And then exhale, start pushing hands and shins into the ground as if you're going to lift your knees, but you're not going to. Pressing, weight bearing. Notice the position of your hands, wrists, elbows, shoulders, scapula. And release. One more time, guys. Take a breath in. And exhale. Start pressing hands and shins in towards the ground. And then on your next breath, gently release and holding it here. We're going into a thread the needle position. So I want you to bring your right hand and literally just rest your forearm on the ground. Let the other elbow bend. Listen, this is some people's thoracic rotation. And then what you can do is take a block and literally just rest here. That is their rotation. If it's available to you, slide your right hand through and bring your head down. And again, if you need to put a cushion, a block underneath your head or your shoulder, feel free to do so. Now stay here just for a moment and just notice the rotation of your spine. Notice how your right scapula has been pulled wide. So that is called protraction. And notice how this is affecting your breathing, because one lung is going to be more open and available than the other, the left side. Now let's start to bend the right elbows. If you're going to give yourself a little pat on the back. And then releasing the arm back out. And again, bending the elbow. Little pat on the back. And release. So as you do this, bend and straighten up the arm, what you're effectively doing is a little bit of a fascial release for the back arm line on the right side. So that is upper trapezius, rhomboids, rotator cuff, triceps, and release. And then on your next breath, make your way up slowly onto all fours. And then we're going to repeat it on the other side. So start off just with the forearm down. And remember, that's where some clients are. And in fact, one side may be different from the other. If it's available to you, you start threading the needle all the way through, and then just allow yourself to settle here for a moment, and just connecting into your breath. So it's amazing how powerful the breath is. So your breathing gives you an opportunity to expand from the inside out. And it gives you a release, especially around the fascia from the inside out. So just bring your awareness into your breath. And then when you're ready, you can start to bend and straighten the left elbow. So you're going to bend and see if you can touch your ribs. If not, it doesn't matter. And this time we are releasing the back left arm line. And let's just take 2 more. And let's take 1 more. And release. And then bring yourself all the way up again onto all fours. So again, get your wrists in a place that works for you. And we're now going to go into a cat stretch. So on your next breath, start rounding your spine. So you're flexing your spine, pushing away from your hands, and feel the rounding of your rib cage. And then start to lengthen the spine. And I quite like to come to extension. You can stop in neutral if you want, but see if you can start working your way towards a little bit of extension and feel again the change in the shape of your ribs. And again, rounding the spine. And with the rounding of the spine, do you notice how your scapula protracts? And then start to lengthen the spine. Move towards extension, and do you notice how the scapula retracts? Now, keep going at your own rhythm. Connect your movement to a breath. It doesn't matter what works out for me. Figure it out for yourself, exploring each inhale and each exhale. And we oftentimes do this cat stretch movement, and our cueing is about the spine, which is completely valid. Our cueing is about the abs, very valid. But how about bringing the awareness to what the shoulders and the scapula do in this movement? And we're going to take just 1 more time, rounding the spine. And we're going to stay here for a moment. Let's all meet in this rounded spine. And then bring yourself back into a resting position. So I like to bring my feet together, and then I like to overlap one hand on top of the other. You can place your head, your knees, your arms, wherever feels best for you. And we're going to take 3 deep breaths in and out here. Bringing your awareness to the expansion and the release of the ribs. Bringing your awareness to the inflating and deflating of your lungs. Bringing your awareness to the diaphragm moving down and up and releasing into the lower back. And then on your next breath, just slowly make your way upright. You're going to turn onto your bottoms. So we're going to be seated. And I always like to do a little bit of a roll down so that I'm lying supine. So let's use abdominals. You can use your hands to help yourself if you need. And we're going to lie all the way back. So now, this is where you can either use a little pillow under your head, or if you have that inflatable ball, then put that ball underneath your head. All right. So I want you to bring your knees and your feet into a comfortable position so that you don't have to focus on supporting them. Put your hands onto your pelvis so you can monitor that you have some stability and a little bit of a transverse abdominis connection, so your abs are supporting you. And then take a moment to, again, close your eyes. You'll notice that I do that a lot because I want people to observe themselves. I want them to slow down and be able to really notice what's happening. So again, just with eyes closed, and feel the points of contact, again, of your body to the ground. Notice your feet, your pelvis, the back of your ribs. What are your scapula and your shoulders doing? Where are your elbows resting? And then notice your head being supported on the ball or the pillow. Again, you can keep your eyes open or closed. And we're going to mobilize the cervical spine. So start by lifting your chin up towards the ceiling and just feel your head rolling backwards on the ball or pillow. And then nod your chin in. You're not going to lift your head. You keep your head down, but you find a little bit of a tuck with the chin. And again, as you lift your chin and roll your head back, you probably feel quite a lovely stretch along the front of the neck and throat. And then as you roll your chin in, you're going to find a little bit of a stretch along the back of the neck. And again, start to notice as you move, which is your easiest movement? Where does your neck like to go? Maybe notice where is there resistance. And by the way, guys, I'm not a believer in pain. So if something's painful, please don't push it. Rather just allow yourself to experience the movement, maybe a little bit of discomfort, like a waking up of the muscles, but then that's it. And as you do this mobilization around the cervical spine, I'm just going to throw a little bit of yogic philosophy at you. And in yoga, they talk about different centers of the body being chakras. And each chakra is kind of related to a different quality. And there's a chakra at the throat here, and the color is like a bright blue. And when they talk about a chakra being blocked, sometimes there's a physical discomfort, and oftentimes there's some kind of manifestation. And this is around the throat chakra, our ability to be able to express ourselves. So sometimes we can't maybe express how we feel about something or express feelings in general. Maybe we start to experience a little bit of tightness, maybe we get sore throats. Anyway, so whether you believe in it or not, it's just interesting to observe. Maybe it's something that resonates with you. And then let's just take one last one. And then bring your head just to the center and allow yourself to settle here. Now, I want you to have an experience. If you have your little prop underneath your head still, take it out for a moment and then just rest your head down. And notice how it feels. If you have a very rounded upper back, you might feel almost like your head is dropping back, in which case, please put the little prop back underneath your head. If you're lying there with your head on the floor and it feels okay for you, then why don't you just allow yourself to settle into that shape? And then you can open your eyes, blinking gently, and bring your hands up towards the ceiling above you. We're going to do some arm scissors here. So start by taking one arm back and one arm forward, and then alternate. And you are synchronizing the movement between the right and the left side. So it's a little bit of coordination. And as we move from the shoulder joint, which is a ball and socket joint, we've got quite a lovely range, or we should, right? We should be able to take our arm all the way next to our ears. That's 180 degrees. you might notice that one shoulder doesn't like that range. Please don't force it. Just connect into your breath, and as you continue this movement, you might notice it starts to release. And start to become aware of what your scapula are doing. If you can imagine that your scapula are two slippery bars of soap gliding up and down your rib cage, and there is a natural rhythm between the scapula and the shoulders. They need to work together. And if they don't, that's often why we compensate with tension around the neck. Let's take last two. Let's take one more. And then bring both hands up towards the sky. Bring your hands together in a prayer position, keeping the elbows nice and straight. Start to slide the right hand up towards the ceiling, and then release and slide the left hand up towards the ceiling. And as you do the sliding movement with the hands, because the elbows are straight, can you feel that the shoulder has to lift, that the rib cage has to roll, and there's going to be a rotation around the thoracic spine. And there's going to be a natural movement, maybe around the head and the pelvis. So don't force it, allow it. And now start to make that movement a little bit smaller. Make it half the size. So we are refining our movements again. And a lot of this refining is borrowed from a method called Feldenkrais. So the purpose here is to move gently, to move with breath, and just allowing your body to soften into it. No forcing. And now start to make it a little bit smaller. So it's almost like the tips of your fingers are barely moving past each other. And maybe if I was looking at you, I might not even see anything. You can just feel it. And come to a standstill. Separate your hands again. And then just pause for a moment with your eyes closed once again. And notice how your upper back and your neck feel. You can keep your eyes closed or open. Go back to your arm scissors. And after we did that gentle rotation of the thoracic spine, how does this feel as you move the arms forward and back? Has there been a shift for you? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. This is your chance to observe your own body. See what works for you. Connect to your breath. Let's take two more. One more. Bring both hands straight up. And I just want you to bring one knee into your chest, hug it in. Bring your other knee into your chest, hug it in. Maybe just do a little bit of a rocking action from side to side. And then we'll just pause here for a moment. So we're going to do a slow roll up or a slow rolling like a ball. It's a hybrid of the two. And this is quite a lovely way to come up to sitting without jarring the neck. So slip your hands behind your thighs. Start to move your legs away from your chest until your elbows are straight. So you can feel that your thighs are adding some weight to your arms. And then bring your head towards your knees. And as you round your spine, the elbows are straight. Can you feel that you start to pour your body weight into your feet? And you simply shift forward until your feet connect to the ground. Bring your head towards your knees. Pause for a moment as you inhale. exhale, unravel your spine and coming all the way up. All right, so let's come up into a standing position. And we're going to end just like we started, with our feet a little bit wider than you normally might stand. And just allow your eyes to close for a moment. Let your feet root you. And allow your head to float up to the clouds. And allow your body to be a connection between the two. Taking a moment to acknowledge your shoulders, your neck, your ribs, your lungs and your heart. Take a moment to feel the front of your throat. And just take a moment to observe the ease of your breath now. And if you can describe how your upper body feels in one word, what would it be? Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth and sigh. Blink your eyes open. Give your hands a little bit of a shake. Very nicely done, guys. Let me just grab my glasses so I can see what I'm doing here. How does everyone feel? You might need to unmute yourself, by the way. You can see it was a very, very gentle class. Did you feel all right with everything that we did?
Yeah.
Okay. And everything made sense? I mean, it's something that would be fantastic to do with absolute beginners. It's something great to do with anybody that is also worried about moving their neck as well, because it is so gentle. And then I will be adding on to this over the next few series. So we're going to start to activate it a little bit more. But what's nice about it is that at any point you can backtrack. You can backtrack so that it actually works for yourself and for your clients as well. All good.
Brilliant.
All
Thanks
good. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank
Absolute
you.
pleasure. Hopefully it's something you can repeat. I'll send you guys the recording, and hopefully it's something that you can sort of integrate even 1 or 2 exercises with your clients and see how it feels for them.
It's so nice to be able to freely move your scapula without feeling that your neck wants to get involved. It's great.
Absolutely. And I think that's actually the biggest issue for a lot of people, is if everything around the upper back starts to freeze, you've got no choice but to take it into your neck. So, you know, if you can find that balance between them, it feels so much better.
I'm looking forward to seeing how it will progress into back extension, how it will free up
Exactly.
the muscle.
Absolutely, because I mean, tying that into all the back extension and also loading. So as soon as you start to actually include things like the bands, the weights, etc., and gravity, you can actually then build up onto this for clients.
Amazing.
Yes, thanks very much, Renee.
Absolutely. Awesome. So if I don't see you before then, I'll see you on Friday, although I know some of you in the other classes as well.
Yes.
Good.
Lovely, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. See you, Shireen. Bye, guys.
Bye.